In this series, we discuss the most commonly kept reptiles, amphibians, and even invertebrates in the pet trade. Why are we doing this? Simply to understand our pets and to respect their heritage. Pets are our constant companions and bring immense joy to our lives. To truly care for our pets, it is important to learn about their species, origin, and natural habitat. In this episode of Understanding Our Pets, we will be discussing the royal python, also known as the ball python in the U.S., which is an incredibly popular species of pet snake that is native to the African continent. The royal python is a unique creature, known for its distinctive color and pattern, featuring blotches of various shades of brown that run along the entire length of their body. Unlike many other snake species, they have a relatively small head compared to the girth of their body at its thickest point. With a lifespan of 10 to 15 years in the wild, they can live up to 40 years in captivity. Royal pythons originate from West Africa, including Ghana, Togo, and Benin, where they are still collected for the leather and meat trades. However, most of the royal pythons in the UK pet trade are now captive bred. In their natural grassland or forest habitats, they can be found in and around grassland burrows or termite mounds during the heat of the day. They are known as crepuscular, which means they are active at dawn and dusk, and they can be viewed as being partial baskers. Royals are known for being docile by nature and curl up into a ball when threatened, which is why they are referred to as ball pythons in America. They are not venomous and use constriction to kill their wild prey. Royals have been bred to produce many color and pattern variants called morphs. Royal pythons are native to West Africa, including Ghana, Togo, and Benin. In the wild, they inhabit grasslands, savannas, and wooded areas in various countries in Central Africa, where they use plantations and rainforests to regulate their body temperature. Due to their slow metabolism and inability to regulate their body temperature, they require high humidity levels and heat preferences. Therefore, it is recommended that you keep them in a wooden vivarium that can insulate them against these factors. The enclosure should be at least 6 feet long, 3 feet wide, and 3 feet high, with large vents and glass sliding front doors to provide the required temperature gradient. To achieve a consistent temperature while ensuring adequate ventilation, it is essential to provide a ceramic heat lamp attached to the ceiling of the enclosure. This lamp should cover over 50% of the enclosure while allowing the rest of the enclosure to cool to 29 dir, 85 Belgium. On the opposite side, a pulse thermostat can help control the temperature. It is crucial to surround the ceramic lamp with a guard, since the royal pythons can reach the top of their enclosure without decorations to climb on. Ceramic lamps can be left on day and night since they do not produce any light. An appropriate strength UVB tube that runs 2/3 of the width of the enclosure is recommended to provide lighting for the enclosure. All lights should go off at night, and the enclosure should be dark to ensure that the snake has a clear day-night cycle. It is best practice to monitor temperature with a thermometer, even though thermostats sold for this purpose are reliable. A small variance on the basking spot is nothing to worry about as long as the cool side remains cool. While a simple dial thermometer on each side should be sufficient, digital probe thermometers are much more accurate. Royal pythons do not require UVB to use the calcium in their diet like other reptiles. However, since they would naturally be exposed to UV from sunlight in the wild, providing some UVB is recommended. Although it is not a cause for concern if the UV exposure is a little too strong at the closest point, the python will put itself in the perfect position as long as there is a gradient present. Using soil and cocoa peat or cocoa bark and cocoa peat is a good idea for substrate, and using moss to hold humidity is key, since this snake needs a humidity of 50 to 60%. If the python is shedding, raise the humidity to 70% to help soak and take the shed off easier. Enrichment is important to provide a stimulating environment that promotes natural behaviors. Royal pythons love to climb in the open in low light. As such, you will need to choose sturdy decorations, such as branches that will support the weight of this heavy-bodied snake. If using natural branches, sterilize them with boiling water first. Royal pythons like small spaces as they typically hide in animal burrows in the wild. Include many hides at both ends of the vivarium so that the snake can choose the temperature without having to compromise feeling secure. Hides must be large enough for the snake to fit inside, but not so large that its body cannot touch the insides of the hide when it is coiled up. Include a hide containing moist moss to create a humid hide. These snakes are known for being super docile, and they can make good handling pets as long as they welcome it. It's important to understand body language and the animal's temperament before ever trying to handle anything you're not ready for. Feeding is an essential aspect of caring for royal pythons. These snakes feed on a variety of prey in the wild, but in captivity, they can be fed on mice or rats, which should be appropriately sized for their body weight. Young pythons should be fed one mouse or rat every 5 to 7 days, while adults should be fed one every 10 to 14 days. In the wild, royal pythons mostly feed on gerbils, although they will also feed on small birds, with males preferring them since they are more arboreal than their female counterparts. These nocturnal and crepuscular pythons are ambush predators, lying in wait in the dark of night for their prey and lunging at the perfect moment to catch it. Water is also crucial for the royal python's health and well-being. They require a water dish that is large enough for them to soak in, but not so large that they cannot climb in and out of it easily. Change the water daily and clean the dish thoroughly once a week to prevent the buildup of bacteria. Breeding occurs during the rainy season, which is from mid-September to mid-November. With ball pythons having a fast reproduction rate, males reach sexual maturity at 16 to 18 months, while females reach maturity at 27 to 31 months. They produce clutches that range from 4 to 15 eggs, depending on the country they live in. Morphs come in various shades of white, yellow, brown, orange, and many more, with the rare morphs being more expensive and in higher demand. This is why they are constantly being stripped from their homeland and remain the most commonly kept snake and reptile pets. In the next episode of Understanding Our Pets, we will be discussing the cute, tiny leopard gecko. Habitat loss also poses a big threat to these snakes and many other animals. The black cobra, also known as the forest cobra, is known to hunt and consume smaller snakes of the species, while large birds of prey are also known to hunt and consume these snakes in their natural habitat. Royal pythons are in high demand as pets because of their morphs, which are different colors and patterns achieved through selective breeding. With a gestation period of about 40 to 50 days, their eggs are laid in the second half of the dry season, which is from mid-February to the beginning of April. Females coil around their eggs until they hatch, and the hatchlings are immediately independent. Despite being very well bred in captivity, royal pythons are hunted regularly in their homes for the pet trade, meat, and leather.